talk a little bit about the history, talk about where we come from, why we started this, and then move into the bigger things.
We're going to play the 30-second counting down video for our audience to be ready as well. Let's do it. The video starts. GM, everyone, thank you so much for waiting. I know everyone can wait to see Alex, right? The CEO behind Boost, and everyone uses it in the Web3 space. Alphabot, we have actually been using it for 2 cycles. I'm so excited when my friend told me, hey, Moonlight, we're going to invite Alex to Binance Live, and you're going to be the host of it. Super happy and very glad to have Alex joining us. Hi, Alex. Would you like to say hi to our audience on Binance Live? Wow, let's do it.
Yeah, no, happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I love the energy. First of all, Moonlight, love the energy. I've been spending more time on broadcast, and I love making the rounds and just talking about, some of the things we've accomplished and more importantly, where we're going. So very excited to show a little more detail to you today.
Nice. Thank you so much, Alex. As I could see right now on Binance Live, we have over 1,500 live views already, and people are coming. So everyone, be sure to help us to share this Binance Live link across multiple platforms, so more people can join Lee's live streaming session on Binance Live and across platforms and hear what Alex is about to say with us. He has actually prepared a lot of great topics, and I can't wait to get started. And the first question, of course, we would like to ask about how about let's talk about the project or projects, because you are the CEO behind so many successful projects in the Web3 space, right? Let's first talk about the history, starting from when did you enter the Web3 space, how's the journey, and what made you want to build a project like Boost? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So I've been in crypto since 2017. And yeah, for those of you that don't know me, I'm CEO, co-founder of Alphabot and Boost as well. But yeah, really got my start in crypto in 2017. Started buying ICOs. I've been trading on Binance since then as well. And really had a very fun time just finding early stage projects, investing in them, and then, helping them build and grow further from there. Had quite a bit of success there. And in 2021, I fortunately got into NFTs quite early on. A friend of mine told me to buy into some pictures of monkeys, and that ended up being the Bored Ape Yacht Club. So the Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and everything else that came around that. Fortunately, I was there to experience it. So the kennels, the other side, and the Kodas and all that great stuff. So I had a lot of fun in the NFT space, mostly as a collector. And then we did come together within the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and we created a sub community called the Ape List, which really set out to become one of the first alpha communities, major sort of niche alpha communities in the space, all focused around providing value to holders of Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, and other collections. Now, that's where I met some amazing people, such as my current co-founders, Billy the Ape, Jay Rafali, Sally, amazing people. And from there on, we started onboarding more and more. Now, it was at that time, in 2022, this was already 3 years ago, we basically discovered this problem. And it was all about managing digital communities and distributing rewards and incentivizing engagement. And we discovered this problem, and nobody was solving it. And it was all about sort of hosting those specific campaigns. So it was a very niche problem. at the time, Premint was the biggest raffle, giveaway provider. To this day, you still see it in some places. And, that was a shortcoming with Premint and similar platforms at the time. And we approached them and asked, hey, can you please add this one small feature? And they didn't want to do it. So basically, because of that, we were forced to build our own solution. And fortunately, that's when we met Billy the Ape, who's now our CTO and co-founder, amazing engineer. And he's built out pretty much all of the underlying tech and strategy there. But so it was basically back then where, we encountered this problem. We had to build our own solution because nobody else was providing it. And as it turned out, a lot of other people, a lot of other communities were having the same issue. So we just started using it for ourselves, and really we were our first customer. And from there on, we started building more and more functionality, right? So it started with just as a giveaway bot in Discord. Then, for example, people were saying like, hey, I've got multiple wallets. So we allowed the functionality to add in multiple wallets to it. And then people were complaining, saying like, hey, I'm winning too much. I can't keep track of all the wins I've got. So at that point, we were like, okay, how can we sort of position that better? And then we found an amazing spreadsheet with Greb. Some of the OGs will remember him. Going into a lot of detail here, but I'm getting nostalgic just thinking about it. So then we basically built out an entire calendar there, and we tied it back to the wins. So Moonlight, for example, when you would go on our platform and you win an allocation or a whitelist for an upcoming project, we would know that, and our system would remind you on the day of the launch to let you know, like, hey, this is happening today at this time, and this is your wallet address that was whitelisted. Now, obviously, our users love that, and beyond that, the projects loved it because it increases conversion, right? Mm-hmm. So we really set out to create a whole bunch of innovative features back then, but it was all around consumer feedback, right? Customer feedback, listening to our users. To this day, I'm in DMs with some of our most active users, and we're listening to them, we're hearing their feedback, and we're looking at, okay, what do users like? What do they not like? And what can we do better? So that we can constantly adjust our roadmap and our backlog to reflect what is important to our users. And this is something we learned, and is the whole reason why Alphabot exists today, because other companies did not do that, right? So it's funny to see how that sort of originated. Sorry, Moonlight, go ahead.
That is just perfect. Well, Alex, because just like before Lee's AMA session, I was telling you that I manage a huge Web3 gaming community, right? And we have been very loyal Alphabot subscribers. Yeah, we pay. We are members that we pay for so many years, and being like 2 cycles. And during the peak time, I remember when NFTs were like super, super hype, right? We could give away more than 600 raffles within 1 quarter. And we have thousands, tens of thousands of participants. And also, your story, right, from building Alphabot, this amazing platform, reminds me that why we started this Binance Live channel. Because 3 years ago, when some NFT communities, they wanted to have NFT reveal nights, right? They asked certain influencers on YouTube to see, hey, can we have a video AMA session so people could really see the NFT reveal on that moment, right at that moment. And some YouTubers charge like $20,000 for 30 minutes of live streaming session on YouTube channel. So we were like, oh, we don't have the budget. How about let's do it by ourselves? And we started 3 years ago, and now we have over 53 million likes on Binance Live. So we're from kind of like the similar story, right? Because we saw some challenges, and so we found ways to solve it, and now we still thrive 2 cycles. And Alex, you built another platform, which is Boost. How about let's talk about Boost? How did the team decide from Alphabot Land to Boost? What's the difference between them or similarities? Thank you.
Of course, yeah. And before I talk about Boost, let me just recap what we've done over the past 3 years, because that is a vital part of how we identified this next move. But, like you mentioned, tons of giveaways, right? We've processed over 1.2 million campaigns on the platform. And these are run by the thousands and thousands of creators and communities on our platform. We've distributed over $1.6 billion in rewards. So a lot of value has been distributed on our platform. And it's anywhere from, big exchanges to big marketplaces to Web 2 companies, Web 3 companies. They've all come on our platform, given away whatever they want. It could be physical, right? I've seen companies like Samsung, they gave away physical items to their community to reward them. You can give away whatever you want and you can get engagement. Now that engagement can be on socials, it can be in your own products. Like, for example, a really great example that I like is, for example, OKX ran campaigns on our platform where they incentivize people to go download the Web3 wallet. Magic Eden ran campaigns on our platform where they incentivize people to not only download the Magic Eden wallet, but then also transact in it. So it's really an amazing way to sort of give away great prizes and incentivize actions. Now, we have done that now over the past 3 years already. We've got a massive user base. Just this past quarter has been our most successful quarter yet. So surprisingly, you see, hey, NFTs, it's not as hyped anymore as 2022. But what we've seen is that we can actually, within crypto, expand into other markets too. So we now serve a lot of token communities, meme coin communities, and we've seen amazing growth this past quarter. We're now at 2.7 million monthly active users. So really a ton of activity on our platform and, of course, within Discord and Telegram. Now, that's a little bit about the past 3 years here, Moonlight. And we've built some very, very strong USPs here. So some amazing tech. And that specifically comes in the form of our ability to verify social engagement. So as you'll see on other platforms, other engagement platforms, especially, well, I'm not going to name any names here. I'll be polite, but especially on other platforms, you might just be able to just click through certain requirements, right? They're not actually verifying the requirements or the tasks. In our case, we actually verify all of those requirements. So we make sure that at the point of entry, the users are completing these tasks. And that's very important because that's how you maximize your ROI as a creator and as a brand and a company, right? Yeah. If you're giving something away of value, you want to make sure that you maximize, of course, what you get in return. Now, that's one of our very strong USPs because of the volume we already, process. Today in crypto, we already process up to 400 registrations per second. Wow. Now, that's a lot of volume, and we verify all those requirements, right? So that's already a very large scale just within crypto. And beyond that, what we've noticed, and one of our biggest catalysts for growth in Web3 has been our network effect. And actually, what I'm going to do here, instead of just talking about it, I'm actually just going to pull up my screen share and show you all.
That is just amazing. And this is the beauty of video AMA sessions, because we could just show it and prove it and let our audience to take a look of how amazing the platform has been.
Exactly. So I hope this comes through okay on your end. But this is our AlphaBot platform. And let me just refresh it real quick so we get a fresh look here. Okay, so this is our AlphaBot platform. And today this is live. This is our dashboard. And this is where a lot of people spend a lot of time. I mean, we see upwards of 900,000 daily page views on this page. And what we see specifically is that people spend a lot of time on this raffles tab. And, in Web3, we call them raffles. Web2, we call them giveaways, but it's all the same thing at the end of the day. And what you can do here is you can basically discover the thousands of active campaigns at any given day. And there's probably between 2,000 and 3,000 active giveaways right now on this platform. And you can go filter through them as well. So you could look at, the different requirements like, hey, I don't want to complete tasks that, force me to retweet, right? If you don't want to do that, you can just disable them in the list and you won't see any giveaways or campaigns with that requirement. We also support, 45 different blockchains. So there's really a ton of things that you can find and discover here. But what we've seen is this has been one of the biggest catalysts for growth for us in Web3, because what we realized here is that as a creator, say Moonlight, when you host a giveaway, you share a link with your community joins our link your link on our platform to enter the giveaway. At that point, they're on our platform for your giveaway and they enter it and they're done. But as soon as they're done, they see, hundreds, if not thousands of other giveaways that they can enter. And before you know it, they're discovering more and other communities on our platform are benefiting from it too. And what we realized there is that's actually a very powerful network effect, where as more creators join the platform, they onboard their audience, more users means more engagement. And more engagement in turn leads to more creators, because that's the core reason why they're on our platform, right? So it's a very powerful network effect where as more creators and more users join, the value for everyone increases, right? Because the creators have something that the users want, which is the rewards, and the users have something that the creators want, which is the engagement. So it's a very healthy dynamic, which makes it very scalable, and that's allowed us to scale to where we are today. So I just wanted to highlight that as as an example here. Of our core USPs. Now, let's just open up just a random giveaway here. This one I think is for a NFT project potentially. Yep. And you can see here, this is the core sort of standard layout of a giveaway where you can, set different requirements.
Mhm.
And these are the tasks that I was talking about earlier. So you can give away whatever you want, set entry requirements, and people can join for that. Now, this is, this has been at the core of our success in Web3. And fortunately, we dominate the raffle space in Web3 because of some of these features. Now, I want to make an important distinction here as well, because sometimes people bring this up, and I want to make a very important distinction here. Raffles and questing are two fundamentally different things. Raffles is very much short-term engagement, so it's a campaign. It's like, hey, here's a giveaway. It's open for 24 hours. You can register, complete the task, register, and maybe you win or maybe you don't. Questing, on the other hand, is a longer-term, longer form type of engagement, where essentially you're completing tasks, multiple tasks over a period of time. You're earning points for it, which potentially translate into a reward down the line, right? Two fundamentally different concepts and serve a different purpose. Now, what we realized is that outside of Web3, nobody's doing questing, right? You don't see big companies in Web2. You don't see big creators in Web2 hosting quests. What you do see, however, is you do see the biggest creators, the biggest companies, the biggest multinationals, the biggest brands, they're all hosting giveaways. You look at Mr. Beast, you look at Hilton Hotel. There's so many creators, so many corporations, so many brands in Web2, and they're hosting giveaways at every level of scale. And what we realize is that how these people are hosting them, it's ridiculous. They're doing things manually. They're in Instagram descriptions. They're using Google Forms. There's no bot protection. There's no engagement verification. So it's really ridiculous what they're still doing. And they have not had the revolution yet that we have had in 2022. Because Moonlight, I assume you were here in the early days as well.
Uh-huh.
For the OGs in the space,
Right.
if you were here in NFTs in 2021, you would have seen the same Google Forms. You would have seen the same sort of manual picking process without any transparency, right? You
Oh
don't
my
know who's being
goodness. I
picked as
remember the
winner.
hassle in the early stages. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Exactly. And they're still doing that today in Web2. So we
Oh.
basically realized, like, here, hey, we have amazing technology. We've got great experience, right? We just demonstrated that in Web3.
Mhm.
And we can actually take what we've learned over the past 3 years, take our amazing tech USPs, and take that into a significantly bigger space. And that's where Boost comes into play. So we've actually established a second platform here, which is called Boost. And Boost is the Web2 facing platform. I can actually pull up my screen share here for you as well. I see it's still up. I'll switch to this one. So this is our Boost platform. And Boost is a very similar version of Alphabot at the end of the day. Same team, same entity, very similar technology, just positioned slightly different, because as you can see on Alphabot, it's very dark. It's terminal style. It's what crypto people like, right?
Mhm.
The Web3 people love our current style. But the Web2 audience, right? We thought backwards here, like, hey, what would a big creator or a big corporate brand, what would they want to associate their brand with? So as you can see here, we've got very neutral branding, something that works with every single brand, every single creator out there. In terms of functionality, also, I want to highlight Boost is more focused on the Web2 creators and Web2 campaigns. So as you can already see, there's some requirements, some different integrations there, like YouTube, like Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. It goes very, very far, and it's all about maximizing the value for Web2 creators and Web2 companies. And we basically looked at solving that core issue there. Like, hey, these guys are running the same campaigns, right? The exact same collaborations as we're doing in Web3. It's brands collaborating with creators, but how they're doing it is suboptimal. So let's go solve that. Let's go improve that experience, just like we've done in Web3. And in Web3, we managed to get market dominance, and we're targeting, of course, the same in Web2. Moonlight, I can actually show a couple of examples as well.
Let's do it. Yeah. And also maybe show us what's the most unforgettable or memorable raffles that you have ever seen on the platform, whether it's on Alphabot or Boost. That would be really interesting.
So I would say I have seen some crazy things on
Uh-huh.
Alphabot. I don't know how much I can talk about, but I've seen some very, very interesting giveaways from also some very interesting companies. We've seen, from some, suspicious companies in crypto we've seen on our platform. And, fortunately, we've got an amazing 24/7 support team and data security team. who, filters out bad actors. So, we've been dealing with bad actors since day one, and we try to keep our users as safe as possible. But beyond that, we've seen some interesting companies. We've seen the type of content that perhaps you wouldn't be expecting. At one point, we had to decide, like, hey, are we going to allow NSFW content on Alphabot or not? Because, well, people were posting some very, very weird things on there. So, it's just growing pains, I suppose, where as you're growing, you're scaling so fast, you have to, your policies kind of have to catch up. But I would say that's like the most interesting types of giveaways that we've seen. In terms of the biggest ones with like the most potential, that definitely by far was on Boost just now, because hopefully some of you have seen this already on Twitter, but we just launched Boost already. So Boost already exists as a platform. You can check it out at boost.gg. And we launched our very first Web2 giveaways there. And we partnered them with literally some of the biggest creators in the world. This one, as you can see here, it's already closed. That's why it doesn't show you much information here. Right. But this was for a giveaway for the Sidemen charity match. So this was hosted by the Sidemen, which is one of the most influential content groups in the world on YouTube. And they've got, I believe, 1.6 billion combined views. But this specifically was for the charity match, okay? And the charity match was a stadium, at a stadium in London called Wembley Stadium. It was 90,000 fans, which they sold out in just a few hours. And we basically we hosted a giveaway, I should say, and partnered with them for 10 tickets to the sold-out game. Ooh. And this was very, very interesting because this was now the only chance or the only way for their community members, their followers, to get free tickets.
Right.
And that was a very, very interesting model where we basically were able to capture a large part of their audience, right? Because again, it's the same model here. There's a giveaway link on Boost.gg that they share with their audience, and just like an Alphabot, right? And then their audience joins the link. They create an account, one tap sign in, right, to just log in with their Instagram account. And at that point, they've created an account on our platform. They can register for the giveaway, and then they can go discover other giveaways. But at that point, they're one of our users, right? We've got their email address. We can retarget them for future campaigns as well. So a very powerful way for us to onboard users. But the reason why this was so exciting is because they had 38 of the biggest YouTubers and creators in the world. Think Kai Cenat, Speed, Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, right? The biggest of the biggest was there. And we and the team, we were there as well, networking with them, met some amazing people, again, solidifying the future of our platform. I have to be careful here that I don't say some things which are unannounced. But yeah, it's really powerful to meet people in person like that, because Moonlight, in this global creator space, people like Speed, people like Mr. Beast, they get so many offers, right? And how do you cut through the noise, and how do you get your, proposals and your propositions, just like with the Sidemen, for example, right? These guys are getting offers left, right, and center to collaborate or, for companies to work with them. So cutting through that noise and getting the right introductions at the right times to the right people is extremely important. And when you're there in person, you're meeting these people, you're establishing relationships. That's, of course, very important. Now, why we're excited about the Sidemen, this campaign that we did, is because this sets the credibility for Boost, where, we've got amazing credibility in Web3, right? Amazing metrics, amazing track record. But this sets our credibility in Web2 as well, because now we've worked with, one of the biggest content groups. Now, we also did another huge campaign, and beyond this, we've already seen some other campaigns on the platform as well. Let me just double check the link.
Nice.
This is the link. So this was Noah Schnapp. I don't know if you guys know Noah Schnapp. Do you watch any TV shows? Because have you seen the Stranger Things by any chance?
No, I don't actually watch TV, but I am kind of like spend all my time in the Web3 space. But yes, let's talk about it.
I only watch TV or shows when there's no internet connection, which typically is on a plane, right? So I unfortunately haven't seen Stranger Things myself either, but I do know how big of a deal it is, because Stranger Things is a top 5 show worldwide, if not bigger at one point. And they've got a new season coming out, and Noah Schnapp is the face of it. He's pretty much the star of the show. And Noah Schnapp has got an amazingly loyal following. If you look at his Instagram, I mean, some of his posts are getting upwards of 1 million likes. I mean, very, very loyal fan base and very engaging. Wow. Now, Noah launched a shoe collection, limited edition sneakers, partnered with Amazon, joint venture called it Drifts. And we were very, very excited about this because this is our entry into, of course, working with great celebrities, but also our entry into one of the most valuable companies in the world, which is Amazon, of course. So very excited about this specific campaign as well. And I'm just highlighting a couple around these. We had a bunch more, a couple dozen, and we have some very, very exciting ones lined up as well here in the near future. But why we're excited about this is our way to onboard in large amounts in Web2, right? So we're able to basically use this the strategy to capture large amounts of users from these amazing celebrities, brands, creators, and of course grow in that sense. Now, that's all to sort of kickstart the platform growth, right? As what I told you about earlier, we've got the brands, we've got the creators, and there's that healthy dynamic between them. But as with any new platform, you've got the chicken and the egg, right? Which comes first? Well, we've got the creators, and the users are slowly onboarding as well now, and we've got some very exciting next creators lined up as well here in Moonlight.
Nice. So how did it all get started? At very first, how did you because I have been through the Alphabet stage, right, from zero and now to super huge. But how about Boost? How did you first find all those celebrities or famous influencers to collaborate with? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. So again, it's a mixture of solving a problem. And I mean, these names that I just mentioned, they're all hosting these types of campaigns already, right? They're hosting giveaways, as giveaways are extremely powerful, especially in Web 2, when the space is significantly bigger, right? Web 3, by all means, is a very small market. If you compare that to the Web 2 market, a global market where, hey, if you post a campaign, it could reach anyone anywhere, right? I could reach someone in China or in Thailand or in South Africa or in Chile, and it's really, really global, and that makes it very, very powerful because there's potentially a lot of growth that you can get from it, right? Now, as what you mentioned as well, you were getting tens of thousands of entries on Alphabot for your campaigns. Now, imagine that at a global level, giving away things that everyone wants, right? Like imagine someone giving away a car, or someone giving away $10,000, or someone giving away a watch, or a gift card, whatever it is you're interested in. And that, of course, is very, very powerful. Now, how these collaborations came to begin, it's really all about making those connections and establishing those relationships. And fortunately, we're in a position now where we can really start growing the team, and we have been over the past 2 quarters. And we've now got a team of over 25 people, and some of those individuals are specifically focused on creator relationships. So it's a mixture of business development. We're like, hey, let's onboard the next 10,000 creators onto our platform, but also how do we set up relationships with some of these biggest people, right? So that when X, Y, or Z, when they host a campaign, they'll use Boost, right? And that's the vision here. It's like, how do we establish, and well, not just how, but we are establishing Boost as the new global standard for giveaways. And I want it to become a centralized global hub for giveaways. And that's the most bullish scenario here because it doesn't exist yet in Web 2. This page that I showed you earlier, our raffle page or a giveaway page on Alphabot, where you can discover thousands of giveaways, right? That does not exist yet for Web 2. So that is very exciting for Boost. And we've already built the underlying technology for this. Now, of course, the part comes to the onboarding side. So we're now onboarding, the next 10,000 creators on that platform. And of course, when you start to see all those giveaways fill up on the platform, that's when you're going to start to see the network effects. And that's when we position this as a centralized global hub. Now, very excited about that because you could go, as a user, you could go on there and, potentially discover giveaways from your favorite creators, right? If you like Sidemen, you follow them. Oh, they're hosting a giveaway. How cool. You could potentially win, some life-changing prizes on there by just supporting your favorite creators, right? Now, beyond that, in terms of the technology that we have, in terms of the transparency, and in terms of the efficiency, by setting Boost as a new global standard, we wanted to grow into the part where when you see, for example, your favorite creator hosting a giveaway, and if they're not using Boost, we wanted to come to the point where you start to think like, hey, why are they not using Boost? What do they have to hide, right? Because we're establishing ourselves as that third party transparent option where, hey, if someone is giving away a car on his Instagram, you don't know who that car is going to. You don't know how that's being picked, right? So by establishing ourselves as that independent third party where, these creators, these brands can host their campaigns, it's efficient, it's safe, and of course, it's trustable. Most importantly, as we've done in Alphabot. And that's the key element here, right? As we're not changing behaviors because these giveaways are already happening. We're just introducing a much, much better way to do them. So yeah, very excited about the potential there.
That is super smart. And I just don't understand how come in the Web2 space, no one has ever think about it, because we have been using Alphabet for several years. So for us, it's kind of like natural, right? Every day we check our Alphabet calendar to see, on which day we have certain MTs that are going to be minted today, so we need to get ready, etc. But I just can't believe that in the Web2 spaces is so quite new for a lot of people, and they're still using the old-fashioned hand-picked way, right? Or maybe just select some people they already knew or from their team to get it. It's definitely not transparent.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you, Alex.
There are some platforms out there, of course, that are trying a similar thing. But when we look at how they're doing it, it's suboptimal, right? They don't have the right technology, and mind you, some of our tech is extremely expensive to build. We work with some very, very difficult third-party APIs, and we've built our own as well. We've got a lot of our own infrastructure to handle, the volume and all that verification. So it's a very difficult problem to solve from a technical point of view as well, right? Now, this discovery, that's of course also a skill thing. Where like, hey, if you don't have the scale, a discovery doesn't make sense, right? You can't have a network effect if you don't have enough users. And what we've learned in our growth in Web3 is that this growth can be accomplished by working with some of the biggest players in the space. Now, if you look back at how we started Alphabot, we started using it ourselves. Of course, Apelist was a very sizable name back in the day as well. And beyond that, we had some very, very big names using us, like Doodles. Some bigger projects at the time also started using Alphabot. And what we realized is that as soon as the big brands are using your product, especially on a product like ours, the smaller ones will follow. Now, we just did the same thing in Web2, and we have many more of those lined up. And along with that, some great, great business development and sales efforts where we're going to be onboarding all these creators. And then, of course, the flywheel continues to grow.
That is just brilliant. And also consider, like, compared to a lot of, I would say 99% of other projects in the Web3 space, they cannot like go back to Web2 and build another giant project over there, right? Attract a lot more people. So you have very healthy ecosystem right now in both Web2 and Web3. Let's talk about consumer crypto, because it's actually on our discussion topic list. How to define consumer crypto and why does it matter right now, especially after you build these two amazing platforms? Thank you.
Yeah, so consumer crypto to me, and everyone seems to have a different definition of this. And we're big fans of consumer crypto. We're big fans of everything around, and of course, Abstract stands center of consumer crypto. Now, consumer crypto to me means serving features to users that interact with crypto, and of course, at a consumer level. So it's not B2B, it's B2C. And what that means for us on Alphabot and Boost is because of our token utility and because of how we designed it. We're in a very fortunate position here where we've had product market fit. We've been a very profitable company over the past 2 years already, and we have a very good understanding of how our users use our platform. Right? We have a very good understanding of what matters to creators like yourself, to communities, to individual users. And we basically looked at that sort of healthy dynamic that already exists on our platform, which I mentioned earlier, where the creators have something that the users want, which is the rewards, and the users have engagement, which is what the creators want. And we basically looked at those sort of core elements, and we designed a very deeply integrated token utility all around that, where we amplify that existing healthy dynamic. And we basically integrated the token deeply into the platform at the deepest level, where anytime you as a creator or as an end user, anytime you interact with a campaign, you basically have the opportunity to spend, hold, or earn the token. Now, how we're actually enabling that drives us even further into this consumer crypto point. how we're actually enabling token utility, and this is probably my favorite part about what we're doing here. Your account is your wallet. So we've actually built out a lot of our own infrastructure here, where you as an end user, you just sign in with your Instagram account, Twitter account, or Gmail, whatever it is. You sign in. We automatically spin up a wallet for you on the back end. And at that point, within the app, within Boost or within Alphabot, you can deposit tokens if you know how to do it. And if not, you can just very simply fiat on ramp within the app, Apple Pay your way in and just seamlessly onboard. And then you've got these tokens sitting in your account. And you can go interact with them on the platform by just tapping on features, right? You can just interact with features. And these transactions are happening for you on the back end. And most importantly, then the users are interacting with features because they want to. And we take care of everything for them blockchain related on the back end. And we're really positioning this as a credit more so than a token, right? So specifically to the Web2 users, where, mind you, we're positioning this also to a very large user base outside of crypto who are not, they don't understand blockchain, they don't understand tokens. So we're positioning it to them as a credit. Okay, so on the Alphabot platform, this is Web3. On Alphabot, you'll see it as tokens. It's very straightforward. On the Web2 platform, it's all positioned as credits. And credits because that's what they're already used to, right? Look at Fortnite V-Bucks, Call of Duty Cloud Points. I mean, look at loyalty programs, some other websites. You'll have credits there. Now, credits at the end of the day, it's the exact same thing as a token. We're just positioning it as a credit and really abstracting crypto further away. So again, what we're doing in Web2 is we are mass onboarding users there by collaborating with some of the biggest creators in the space. We're solving big problems. We're solving problems around these campaigns that pretty much all of them at every level are already hosting. So we're positioning it as a very attractive product for them to use. And then, again, mass onboarding these users and then making it very seamless for them to get these credits or tokens through on-ramp within the app. And at that point, it's, with some very cleverly designed token utility and gas sponsorship and account abstraction, we're able to have a very large user base outside of crypto interact with the token. Now, why this excites us is these people are not buying the token to speculate, right? They're not buying thousands of dollars worth of tokens to speculate or, invest. They're looking at it from a point of view where like, hey, there's value on this platform. I want to access that value. And for that value, I need a credit. So they're very simply looking at it like that. And sure, they might not be buying $1,000 worth of tokens, right? Because again, they're not using it for speculation. But if you have millions of users with, $50 to $100 worth of tokens, of course, on average, then that of course adds up, right? So we're very excited about the skill and the potential that we have here. And, to me, this is something that makes our project and our business and our model very unique, where there's not many businesses in Web3 that have the potential to scale outside of the market to the same extent that we do. Because every business, every brand, every creator in Web2, if they have an online presence, they can benefit from hosting a campaign on Boost.gg, right? And that's very simply because anyone can host a giveaway. Everyone wants engagement, right? It's more important than ever. If you're a local business, you post a tweet or you post an Instagram post or on Facebook or LinkedIn, or hell, if you don't have any reviews on your Google Maps page, that's a bad look, right? If you don't have engagement, you don't have likes or reviews, that's a very bad look. And how does a business go about incentivizing that? Through giveaway, right? And again, this is already happening in Web2. We're not changing behaviors. We are just introducing a much, much better solution and a much more effective solution to actually accomplish the end goals here. So yeah, that's a little bit about what we're doing there. I feel like I can just talk about this for days, but I'll stop there and
no worry. I decided to cancel my other meetings just for this session. We can continue because I have so many questions. And Alex, you're certainly a super builder, right? From your story, wow, well, buying some monkeys JPEGs and BAYC, right? And then to the FChain and all the way to find some problems and really solving it and building 2 mega platforms with a lot of users. And this is a great business model and amazing builder story. It's really difficult to find any other projects that could, sustain themselves, their team, right, without launching any tokens, right? this is a real useful product that everyone needs, not just in Web3, but also Web2. And that's a even larger market over there waiting for us, which is amazing. So you mentioned that mass adoption, right? Onboarding. Then why did the team decide to separate the two platforms? Why did you decide to build two different platforms? Why not just Alphaba from A to Z and from Web2, Web3 to Web2, and so that you could let everyone know just one brand, one name, Alphaba. But instead, you decide to, hey, we wanted to build Boost, but we also wanted to bring in people to the Web3, and that's our second discussion topic, right? Because we could see very huge, lots of bloggers still stopping creators from coming into the global Web3 economy. They're still saying Web2 and thinking, oh, Web3 kind of like scamming. Yeah, very skeptical, right? Like, don't want to come here. So, Alex, how are you going to kind of like make a balance between these two platforms and bringing more people to the Web3 through these two platforms, Alphaba and
Yeah,
Boost?
no,
Thank you.
for sure. Yeah. And first of all, great question. And you kind of already mentioned it yourself. You kind of already answered it there as well. It's the stigma, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, when you speak to people in Web2, they'll think that crypto is scammy and everything crypto related is a scam. Right. And we have to move past that. And at this point, we're not quite there yet. Of course, with certain people in office in the US now, it does seem to be an improvement, and more creators are opening up to doing something with crypto, but we're just not quite there yet. And that is specifically why we decided to separate the two audiences. So we have Web2 on Boost and Web3 on Alphaba. Now, at the end of the day, again, it's the same team, same entity, same token, same utility, exact same utility. It's just positioned differently, right? So Web2 is all about, Web2 on Boost is all about a seamless, all about a very simple experience, right? And that comes back in our UI as well, where it's much more simplified. There's no need for a 5-paragraph description about what this project or what's the utility going to be, because those are not the types of campaigns that are being ran in Web2, right? So Alphaba, we're able to keep separate as a very niche, very specialized platform for crypto creators, for Web3 users. And of course, with all the requirements and the filters that come with it. And then Boost, we have as a very simplified option, which works perfectly for any brand or any creator in Web2 wanting to host these campaigns. And this also allows us to really develop further on Web2 specific features here. So, the sort of future that I envision here is that now it's all about, online business. Mm-hmm. It's all about online motivated traffic. But how about offline motivated traffic, right? We do motivated traffic very well online, right? Mm-hmm. Engagement. How about offline version of that? So how about events, right? How do we get more people to show up at different events? Or how about, your local moms and pop shop? How about retail, right? How do we incentivize people to show up at a local retail store? Mm-hmm. And with those things, we can really sort of zoom in further on those features on the Web2 side and keep, the Web2 side more Web2 content and keep Alphaba more Web3 content. And that basically allows us to max onboard users and creators on both sides of the spectrum. And yes, there would be a little friction, as it would be easier to have everyone in everything in one platform, of course, for the end user. But, of course, we're looking at ways to make that switch between Boost and Alphaba, between Web2 and Web3 as seamless as possible, where you can just, again, it's the same, very similar technology at the end of the day. So you can just switch between them and access different content. So, yeah, we made that decision there to just max on board, get as many users and creators on as possible, and then also zoom in on, some of the most important features that we can then elaborate on further.
Got it. Wow, that is definitely smart. And I like how the team named the two platforms, right? Alphaba starting with A and Boost starting with B. This is just so smart. I have to say, all the details that the team has very carefully considered about it. And now let's talk about, how do we really find some solutions, right, to onboard Web2 user to crypto-powered platforms or to Web3. And just like earlier you mentioned that in Boost, you use credits or points, right, to attract people. And it's actually behind the scenes, it's the same system. So at the end, can they, for example, can the Boost user choose, for example, they wanted to convert them into tokens, or the other way around, can the Alphabet user wanted to convert to fiat, or how are there any really useful strategies that the team has found out that really could attract more Web2 users to come to Web3 and give it a try? Thank you.
Yeah, so it's really all about the key ingredient here that, in my opinion, of onboarding large amounts of users outside of crypto is account abstraction. And we saw really like the first sort of bigger push into this with Abstract, right? Abstract launched AGW, and I really applaud them for doing that, because this is a great foundation and a great move and a great shift of the space. Because even though we've built a lot of our own infrastructure, it's amazing to see other players. And of course, well, we're also building an Abstract ourselves, and Lucanet is one of our investors. But it's amazing to see more people pushing into this, because account abstraction is the future. Because imagine the Sidemen, right? The Sidemen hosted a campaign on our platform. Say people want to interact with the utility, with the token utility. That would be impossible to do if we didn't have account abstraction, because that would mean that everyone would have to go download MetaMask, save their seed phrase, figure out where to buy a token, and then not get drained or hacked in the process. I mean, it's a terrible onboarding flow. Exactly. And you cannot achieve that at scale. So account abstraction is the key there to be able to onboard at scale in Web2. And that's exactly what we're doing. So I do want to clarify there that credits, even though we're calling it credits, it really is just a token. So if you got 50 credits sitting in your account, that means you've got 50 tokens sitting in your wallet on Abstract that is controlled, within your account. And we're just positioning it as credits. But at the end of the day, the token utility, the token flows, everything is the same for whether you're a Web2 or a Web3 user. But yeah, to us and to me personally, that's really the key there, is that account abstraction and the gas sponsorship. And gas sponsorship is another part of that as well. And that's why we're building all the utility on a layer 2 called Abstract, right? Our token does mint on Ethereum mainnet, but then all the utility is built on Abstract. So within the app, there's a bridge built in. It's going to be seamless. I don't know about you, but I hate bridging, right? So it'll be a seamless bridge where you can very simply just deposit your tokens into your Alphabot or Boost account. At that point, you can start interacting with it. It's not going to cost you anything. It's seamless and it's gasless, right? So that's, in my opinion, is really the only way that you can actually onboard a large amount of users outside of crypto. And that's the beginning, right? That's when you're going to get people interacting with the token, and who knows what's next. There's a lot of exciting things and a lot of great things we can do from there.
Wow, that is just super. And actually tomorrow on our Binance side, we are going to have another giveaway, which we are going to give away physical plushies. I'm going to recommend our guest speaker to use Boost to try it out.
Let's do it.
We could attract Web2 users as well. Thank you for the inspiration. This is just super. I'm going to recommend, in the past I recommend Alphabet, but now I'm going to also suggest them to try Boost as well to attract a broader audience into our Web3 space. So here comes the next question. Since Alex, you have been built 2 profitable business, right? Could you please share some secret sauce or maybe some challenges that you have faced, and how do you overcome it to our potential builders who also wanted to build some real products for our Web3 users? Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't see enough emphasis on that in the Web3 space. And I really applaud fellow builders who have built a profitable business, as this is the key. And in Web3, unfortunately, we sometimes see the wrong builders being funded. And that's just because there's a lot of capital that goes around, right? And in my opinion, it is very, very important to figure out, hey, what problem are you actually solving? And is that a valuable problem, right? You could solve a problem, but if it's not valuable or there's no value in there, then, well, is it really worth solving? So I think looking at it from that point of view is hey, go find a problem. Just like with us in Alphabot, for example, we set out to solve a problem. We didn't say hey, we're going to build a business that is going to disrupt the entire space and provide a solution that is going to, generate over $1 billion in rewards. No, we didn't set that out to do, right? We figured out hey, there's a problem. No one's fixing it. We need a solution. So let's go build it. And then it turned out that a lot of other people had that same problem. Now, of course, we kind of knew that already, but that just happened very, very organically in that sense, right? And I think starting with that emphasis, I've been building companies for the past 10 years already. And this is something I've had to learn the hard way. We're hey, you can come up with amazing ideas, but you need to sort of boil it down and look back at the problem, the core problem. Think about the problem first. Don't start designing a solution already, right? Don't go solution first and then figure out a problem to solve. Start with the problem, solve it, test it, right? Ship a product as soon as possible and start testing it. Then onboard users, get them using it, see if they actually like it, see what you can improve. And, we offered Alphabot for free for about 6 months.
I
And,
remember
we were
that.
just eating. We were eating up the cost. And I mean, the server bills were racking up, and we were like, no, let's provide it for free at first. Start onboarding users, make sure that we provide enough value first before charging people. And that was widely successful for us. When we switched from free to paid on Alphabot, 90% of creators. So 90% of the people, of the creators using our product, stayed on and started to pay for the subscription. And again, that's all really because of the value.
Yes, I have to say we were on them. We as soon as we noticed that Alphabot decided to start to charge certain membership fee, we figured that it's worth it because it really has been brought us a lot of conveniences, right? We could just run a bunch of giveaways on our Discord server, and without further hassle, we had like 3 CMs that have been working really hard to communicating with different project teams and collecting whitelist spots, right? And we just simply put it, and that would benefit all of our common members. And that also, actually, that was one of the key, secret sauce that keep our community still stay active, even during a very long and boring bear cycle, right? That was probably the only thing keep people continue to want to join our community and stay active, because they knew we continue to provide raffles for them to the community, and we will stay here. And because Alphabot is just so convenient, so I really wanted to let everyone know that if your community in the Web3 that haven't started to use Alphabot, try it. It's worth every penny.
No, for sure. I appreciate the continued support there, by the way. I mean, that's a long time already. That's about 2.5 years, if not longer. So appreciate the continued support. And that's really all. That's what it's all about for us, right? Provide value, charge a modest amount, don't go overcharge. And we really try to do that as well with our subscription fee, not at one Ethereum NFT as you would see elsewhere. I won't name who, but and really finding out a sustainable business model as well, right? And in the Web3 space, unfortunately, you see a lot of one-time revenue generating moments, and that's simply not sustainable, because then you have an expiration date on your runway. So what really helped us to build and thrive throughout the bear even is because we had this subscription model, right? Every month we were, generating revenue, and that allowed us to, keep the operations going, keep the lights on, and keep building out new features, so that at the end of the bear, when when things were picking up again, we were positioned extremely strong with some amazing utility and some great functionality. So that's it's been widely successful for us, and I can highly recommend to anyone else building and wanting to build, in crypto, but also outside of crypto. Outside of crypto, it's even harder, because if you want to get funding from Web2 VC, you need to present them with a business plan and analyses and forecast of where you think you're going, and what's the feasibility of this, and have you actually tested it yet? I mean, raising in Web2 without an MVP and maybe a little bit of revenue is probably is very, very difficult. So I can highly recommend that to anyone building, and really just look at solve a problem, test it, launch an MVP, and then provide value and look at generating revenue in the near future.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Alex. Wow, this is definitely very important business model lesson 101 over here, right? So, fellow builders, if you are watching, right now we have close to 5,000 live audience on Binance Live. And so, fellow builders, if you are watching, be sure to check out Alex's journey in both Web2 and Web3 space, right? Building Alpha and Boost, and then continue to grow and bringing more people into our Web3 space. This is definitely a very healthy cycle. So the last question, because we know you are super busy, right? And we don't want to keep you too long, but here comes one last question. Let's also talk about designing a token utilities, because you mentioned that you don't want people to speculate certain tokens, right? You wanted to people really purchase a token because they are useful, just like on the other platforms, right? And also on Boost, right? You have the credits or points that people want to spend some money to hold it, and because you also got a lot of user base. So this is really, really amazing. Do you mind to share some do's or don'ts at how can our funders from other project teams design token utilities, or some common mistakes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, of course. And it really goes back to, a few points that I already mentioned. And first of all, you need a product, right?
Right.
Unless without a product, there is no utility. And well, staking, I'm sorry, but staking, I don't consider as utility. So you need a product, you need to solve a problem and build a solution and have something that people actually want to use, right? Because a product that people only use for the token or for rewards, in the sense of incentivizations, is not sustainable. And that's why a product like ours is so sustainable, because we don't rely on giving people a token or giving people this or that, right? People use our platform because the creators want engagement and the users want rewards from those creators. And that's an important distinction, not from us, but from the creators. So yeah, that's like the sort of first ingredient. And what we really did is sort of look at, okay, who are the stakeholders here? Of course, we've got the creators, we've got the users, we've got the brands, the projects, and what is important to them. And we've actually sat down with many of them, with many users. We sort of have our own little focus groups, many users and brands and creators. And we sat down with them and looked at, okay, what is important for you? What actions are important for you? And then how can we incentivize those things even further by designing token utility around that? Now, this is a very difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of time. We've been designing it for a year already. This has been in the works for a long time, and we onboarded some amazing advisors for this to really design out an amazing economy. And that's what it's all about. I look at this as an economy where, excuse me, I look at this as an economy basically where you have, tokens being spent, tokens being earned, and all the sinks and faucets at the end of the day have to match up, right? If there's more tokens being printed essentially than spent or locked up, then that's an unhealthy economy. And just like with a currency in an economy, that's not going to go right? You're going to have a bad time. So looking at it from that angle, we really designed out a sustainable economy here where at every end of the spectrum, whether you're a creator, an end user, or a brand, there's so many incentives. It's ridiculous how many incentives there are to spend it, to hold it, and of course also to earn it. But those first two are very, very important in this picture. Now, I don't have anything against speculation, of course. I think speculation is just a part of crypto, but there has to be more than that, right? In my opinion, there should be more than that. And we're in a very fortunate position where we have this amazing product. We have this huge potential to expand within Web2, and we're already doing that. And we basically looked at, okay, we want to go live with some great day one utility because we have all these products already, right? And we have all this traction. We have all these users. So let's get them using the token on the platform. So for us, that was really a major part and a sort of a key decision we made. It's like, okay, day one utility on the platform where people can actually go spend, earn, hold the token. And then beyond that, really look at, additional integrations of the token. And again, in a seamless way where you might be interacting with the platform. You won't even realize you're transacting, right? That's the ideal scenario for me, where you're just interacting with features and you see things moving around. You're interacting with features and you're doing some really cool things, but you're not signing MetaMask transactions. You're not, paying gas. You're not doing none of that, right? It's all about seamless and great user onboarding. So yeah, that's really the sort of angle that we chose here. Of course, for other builders, if you're building something, you're designing token utility, it really depends on what product you have. But I would highly suggest looking at a sustainable model. Make sure you look at the sinks and faucets and make sure that everything lines up, and you have a sustainable economy where you're not relying on lockups or on artificial things or buybacks to have a sustainable economy. So yeah, those are some things I definitely would suggest looking into.
Nice. Thank you so much, Alex, for the suggestions. So, oh, fellow builders, come on, let's really create some more useful projects, right? And token utility for our Web3 users, and also let Web2 people to take a look, right? See, in the Web3 space, there are still a lot of great products and amazing builders out here. And don't worry, just join us and grow together. Thank you so much, Alex, for spending time with us. And well, at the very end of today's event, do you have any additional information that you wanted to let our audience know about? Right now, let me double check. Ooh, we have over 5,500 live views. Well, I know it's
Amazing.
cannot compare with Web2, right? But in the Web3 space, this is a lot. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. If you have any additional information you want to let us know, or some alphas that you want to spill, no worry, just say it. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to be careful here what I say, otherwise my team's going to get very, very mad at me. But no, so listen, like we're all about mass onboarding in Web2 right now. You know, we dominate Web3, and what we just saw in Web2 by working with some of the biggest creators, the biggest brands in Web2, we see that, you know, we have amazing validation. We're solving a big problem in Web2. We have a great solution for it, and we now have the right partners lined up, right? We've already onboarded some of these amazing creators, and now a whole bunch of users too. And we're positioned to basically do the same in Web2, right? So we dominate Web2. Very excited about that, where, you know, we're going to be positioning Boost as the new global standard for giveaways. And, you know, some of you might think giveaways sounds insignificant, but here's the thing. Every single business, every single creator at every level of skill in Web2 is hosting these types of campaigns. And we're coming in and providing a solution that is significantly better, that has massive scaling opportunities in terms of our discovery and network effects. And beyond all, we've designed a very exciting token utility that, you know, every user is going to want to interact with. So when you look at the skill, when you look at how seamless it is, and when you look at the potential, well, we're very excited, and hopefully you all are too.
Nice.
And thank you so much for having me, Moonlight.
Thank you so much, Alex. I'm super exciting. And if you don't mind to also come back anytime. We wanted to learn more about updates from Alphabot and Boost. Thank you.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much.
Amazing. And today's AMA session also being featured on the front page, on the very top of the front page of Binance Live. Let me share my screen really quick, and we really appreciate Binance Live for supporting and featuring this session. And that's why we got a lot more audience joining us, right? They could simply just click on the banner and they will find this session. Also, for friends who missed our previous part, no worries, we'll have complete replay available on the same link on Binance Live and across platforms. So just come back over here and you will be able to watch what Alec has been sharing with us, and also amazing journey, right? Starting from buying JPEGs and then to build two very huge and very useful platforms across Web2 and Web3 space. Thank you, Alex. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm going to disconnect us from our Binance side. Okay, dokie, friends. I'm back. We are going to play some music. Yes, music's needed. This is important. And friends, once again, I just want to let you know now that if you haven't tried Alphabot or Boost yet, do it. This is just amazing. I've been using it for 2 cycles, and I like it. I still use it every day. Yes, every single day. Through bulls or bears, Boost is a new one for web tours, and Alpha has been there long lasting for our Web3 people, Web3 communities, or Web3 content creators. Super important. Let's go. Thank you for watching.